might be another person coming, who's of the public. He said he was coming, but he also has to work at 3 in the morning, so I don't know if he said.
He's here, if he's on, he's not.
Yeah.
So Julie, would you like to start up first?
Sure, you want us?
Sure, come on, make yourself at home.
Did you bring them?
No, yeah, that's, you can, it's mostly so I can remember.
It's a good thing,
talk about.
it's a good thing to give as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to introduce Eleanor Wertz to you.
Hi.
She's the program and events manager. Maybe you guys can introduce yourselves, and you might want to say something about it.
Yeah, Eleanor, how do you say your last name?
Wirtz, W-I-R-T-S.
Oh, that works.
W-I-R-T-S.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, yep. I think there's only one in town.
Yeah, and I did not put that together.
Yep. No, grew up right on the, actually what's now, you know where the Rug Road is?
Mhm.
Yep, right across the street is now called Kyle Road. And my middle name was Kyle, and my dad's middle name was Kyle, and his mom's maiden name was Kyle. So
And that's where Kyle came from.
Was our property growing up.
I delivered mail for 25 years
there we
in
go.
Fairfield.
Okay,
I know right where you are.
okay, I bet you do. Yep.
And your dad.
Yes, yep. And he's in Arizona now, but,
Yeah.
yeah. And, not well, but that happens.
How old is your dad now?
You know, I'm guessing his birthday's coming up in October. I'm guessing 86-ish, 87.
Remember you used to come bird hunting?
Yes,
In
yeah,
Manchester's.
we love to bird hunt.
Yeah, with that guy that had, some restaurant on South Bruns Road. I don't know, Wilson Road, that was that guy's name.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of his name, but they used to come in
We
quite.
had golden retrievers and he
Yeah.
loved to bird hunt. Yeah, it's nice.
Well, gentlemen, would you like to introduce
Yes,
yourself?
introduce yourselves, that'd be great. And I'll say, I'll introduce
Ronnie
myself.
Bocash, I live over on the farm.
Sorry, your first name?
Ron?
Ron.
Yeah.
High rent district.
And I'm sorry, Ronnie, your last name?
Bocash,
B.
B-O-C-A-S-H,
Great, nice. And what's your role here?
select board.
Okay.
Julie and I work together quite a bit and stuff.
Nice.
So,
Citizen at large, right?
Huh?
Citizen at large.
Grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I'm Brian Dewey, I'm also on the select board.
Great, Brian. And spell your last name?
D-U-B-I-E.
Great,
Tom?
thanks.
Hello, sir. Sirs.
Oh, good. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Same here.
Yeah.
So this is a man who might know where you could live.
Well, actually, I was just gonna stop by your place today and say, or in the near future, and say, I scored, you can take me off your mental to-do list. So we're good.
Did you just move back here?
Yes, and we'll go around and I'll give you a little
Okay.
scoop.
So you're Brian.
Yes, Julie. Yeah, so my name's Eleanor Wertz, and I grew up here, of course, as I just said, on the Fairfield-St. Albans border, and did lots of things. Left Vermont, came back, came back, and then graduated from UVM twice, which was kind of nice, and ended up being a high school science teacher, which I love doing, and then got into sled dogs, and I ran sled dogs here for about a year and a half, and I was like, I'm going to Alaska. And so took off and did that, and I taught out in a little Eskimo village way out in the Bering Sea coast, and I loved that little Eskimo village, about 250 Eskimos and 5 white people, and I started a dog team out there, which was really neat. And some of the dogs that I brought back with me, actually, their great-grandmother was my foundation dog in my kennel out there, so nice, many generations, and just
Oh
great.
man, I want to hear about that.
Yeah, great dogs, and and then ended up in Fairbanks to go back to graduate school, and ended up starting a sled dog tour company, and then and I ran that for 10 years, and Fairbanks is a huge tourism draw for auroras, northern lights, and and dog mushing is the #1 thing to do during the day. So yeah, we were super busy, had a bed and breakfast, and that was great for a long time. And then, I don't know, I'm just, my life is just about a world change, that's all I can say. I knew from very, very young I would never have the same job for 40 years, and I have definitely not done that.
Me too.
Yep. So anyway, it's just time for a change, and I said, geez, I'm ready to come back to Vermont. And so we drove down in December. I brought 13 dogs with me, and took us a month. We were on the road for 29 days and 6,000 miles, and got here in early January, and didn't have a place to live or a job, but I figured out both, so here we are.
Are you gonna do dogs here?
Maybe not. I mean, I do know the winters are very, very different than when I grew up, and yeah, so it's very warm. But we'll see. We run them on an ATV even up in Fairbanks, in the north when it cools off before we have enough snow. So I might run them a bit on an ATV, and then we'll see if there's snow or whatever. But it's not a major thing on my agenda. Yeah. But they're with me, and they're great. Yeah.
That is a lot of
So I'm
dogs.
gonna, it was, well, I used to have 44, so 13 wasn't that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I came down and I met Julie, and just thrilled to be part of the Fairfield Community Center, and I'm the program and events manager there, and so getting my feet wet, and Julie's been great just introducing me to people and connecting here, so that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and Eleanor's really jumped in. I mean, it was a busy season for us too with the chick,
Yeah,
and then last weekend was pretty busy too.
Yeah. So it's been good.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. But I just thought I'd take the time to communicate with you about what we're doing, and maybe ask a little advice, a little support. So I don't know if you. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm Melissa.
Yeah.
I'm the secretary for this outfit, the select board secretary.
Nice.
I'm also on the planning and zoning board.
And what's your last name, Melissa?
Manson.
Thank you.
I also teach driver ed.
Okay. Great, thank you. Yeah. And Kathy?
Administrator.
That's short and sweet.
Yeah, so my job is to make sure that the interests of the select board are presented to the community, and also create all of the capacity to sign bills and get our permits and do the things that we need to do with our facilities, and lead initiatives if needed. So
Great.
I have these 5 wonderful bosses,
Yeah.
and they point me in the right direction and help
Nice.
me along.
Okay. Good. And what's your last name, Kathy?
Ainsworth, AINSWORTH.
Thanks. Hi, Tom.
Sort of learning all the things as I go as well. So my job changes by season, it changes by interest, and then there's some standard operational, how we have to operate the business of the community, basically.
Great. Okay, super.
So I didn't know if you want to talk about, since you kind of dived into it, the need for an additional bathroom.
Yeah, sure. Yes, I could definitely give folks an update. So, Faith Cassidy is, as you probably know, has been doing our summer camp program for she does a 6 weeks program in the summertime, and just finished up. And she just does, for what it's worth, she just does a phenomenal job. I'm there all day, every day, and just indirectly paying attention, of course, to what's going on, and the kids are just really, really do a super job, and so does she. And but she's got her hands full with between 40 and 45 kids there every day, and it's quite a between 5 and 12 years old, and it's a pretty significant group of kids. So, but for her to grow the program, state law apparently requires that there's another bathroom, a total of 4 bathrooms. There's 3 there now. And she would like to grow the program. She also feels that there's definitely potential there for that. She's always got kids on the wait list for almost every week, and she's capped at 45. And so she mentioned that to me a few weeks ago, and I jumped on it right away, and I was like, okay, what can we do with what we've already got? And there's I don't want to make assumptions, but you're all familiar, I assume, with the layout of the inside of the community center. Okay, so
When it was a school.
yeah, well, I don't know.
When Tom got his book learning there.
It used to be 4,
Used to be 4.
There's
Yeah.
one in each classroom, and then
and
there's,
the teachers had theirs.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite a
Not
long
anymore.
time ago. This
Yeah.
was in the, mid-70s.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
earlier
it's-
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it must be mid-60s,
Yeah, they only had,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
early 60s.
Anyway, they're
Yeah,
just
so if
3.
you've not, okay, well, if you've not been in there in
Toilets.
the last
We're
10
talking about
years.
toilets.
Yeah, there was, each classroom had one, and then the teachers
Yeah.
had they had one.
Yeah, there's probably lots of pipes underneath that slab.
Yeah, that would be good to know, yeah.
Get the real first plans out, and you'll find them.
Yeah, well, we did.
Well, we did.
Actually did.
Yeah, we did. Or the ones, they were blueprints from I think 92, something like that. But anyway, when you walk in the main door, you sort of go down the hallway, there is a bathroom down there. Well, just prior to that, there is a room we call the utility room. And it's kind of a funky little shape, but there is a utility sink in there. And that room is adjacent to the bathroom, one of the existing bathrooms. So, and that utility room is, certainly used for some things, but I said to myself immediately, I was like, there is room for, if we just need a toilet and a sink in here, this is super doable. So I had Bernie Gage's gentleman come out from there and take a look, because I thought, of course, we already have the drain for the utility sink, and I thought, and the toilet is in the existing bathroom, is just on the other side of the wall that divides the two. So I thought, well, the plumbing's all pretty close, and would it be possible to just move the sink over, put the toilet right next to the other one, or whatever we had to do. And the gentleman that came out, his first name is Steve, he was great. He looked over the place and was really, really positive and very upbeat about it, and said, oh yeah, we can do this, no problem. And that was great. He said, there's 2 options. We looked, which was really great. So we looked at the blueprints, and yes, actually that utility room is designed to be a bathroom, and never has been. I mean, it has the toilet, it has this thing, it's a mirror image of the one next to it. And so that was very encouraging. The other thing that Steve noticed, which was great, was that the back wall of the bathroom in the utility room comes flat across, but then it juts in and comes straight across like this. The existing toilet that's there now requires, it's kind of the old fashioned school kind, but it requires a very heavy metal steel plate behind it, because it's not supported from the below, it's just supported from the wall. And so if you're going to put a heavy person on there, it needs a significant plate. So that's what he said exists behind there. And he said, because that wall juts out like that, he said it's very possible that especially with the blueprint that says that this utility room should be a bathroom, it's very possible that this plate already runs all the way across here. So I said to him, I said, well, is it possible, can you take a little tiny drill and just blow it through the sheetrock, and we'll see if this stops right away. So he said, yes, we can definitely do that. The utility sink also needs to be changed. It leaks a little bit, and it also needs, they use a chain that runs down through their spiraling chain to just really clean the pipe. So bare minimum, Julie Wolcott happened to be there, which was great. She overheard this a little bit. So bare minimum, what we're going to do is replace the metal pipe with a plastic pipe, which he says is all that they use now, and also clean that drain. At the time of doing that, he is going to put a little drill in the wall and see if that metal plate in fact exists. If it does, he said this is going to be a no-brainer, we can definitely do this. And he said if not, they have a new toilet design that actually comes, and I'm going to be a little vague here because he wasn't totally clear about this, what it is, but there's essentially a pump of some kind below the toilet that actually mixes and stirs everything up prior to it going out of pipe. So therefore you can have a smaller exit pipe out and still put this kind of toilet in without having to do an entire excavation and putting an entire new plumbing system in. So we did pull the shelving out, it's there on the wall, and to see if in fact maybe there was a drain that was in there already and just covered up. We didn't see one, there's tile in there. We didn't see one on the surface, but he said it's very possible that there's plumbing in there. So I asked him to give me a quote for the repair for just the utility sink is gonna be about $150, which is super doable. I asked him to give me a quote for both the toilet if there's a metal plate and then the new modern deal. I've not heard from them yet. He came just last week. It's been maybe a week at the most since he was there. I will email them tomorrow and say, can I get a quote on this? But he seemed to think that that was very possible to do.
Yeah.
So that would sort of solve that
I have one of the new
situation.
style toilets in my basement.
You do, the
Yeah.
kind I just described?
Yeah,
With
and
the-
it's only got an inch pipe that comes out.
Yes, yes. He said it was pretty small.
But they're pricey though.
I was gonna
They're
say,
pretty
you're
pricey.
looking $3,500 on it.
No, it wasn't that much, but I got it from a buddy of mine at Webb's, but yeah, I had about 1,600, just a toilet.
Yeah, okay, all right. But it would, and what we've had to do, or what Faith has had to do is ask the state for 2 years in a row now for,
Waiver.
a waiver, thank you, to allow for the lack of bathrooms. She's concerned that the state is not gonna continue to, award us that waiver, so, and then we just don't have to keep, and the commitment for that, from my understanding, is February. She starts applying for that in February, and, so, anyway, it would be nice to have that solved between now and then.
And that septic must be designed, or should be take handle all that, right? I mean, it's,
That's a great question. That was my immediate thought.
Right, and we don't know the capacity of the system, but that's some research we have to do.
I mean,
Because it would be adding, we need to see what we're permitted for, yeah, and if we are adding additional people using the facilities. But that's all in the state's hands, I believe, is that information.
I did find out who the engineer was that designed that apparently though, or that's very familiar with that septic. And when I was told by Michelle that the septic was very extensive, she said, don't even think about it, it's fine. That I kind of put that on the back burner in my head, Michelle said.
Not too long ago.
But maybe I don't know that for a
I
fact.
thought they rebuilt the whole thing a few years ago.
I don't, I mean,
We didn't, but I mean-
Dad put the original one in.
Right, but I thought
Right,
they
I think
upgraded
it's
it.
been rebuilt
Been
since.
upgraded since
Right, but
then.
I don't, before my time, so I think we should check it out before we
Yep.
proceed.
So I can certainly work on that.
Yeah,
Bernard and Jarvis just did a similar kind of scoping of the common school property to look at the septic and the design and how much it could take and stuff like that. So,
And who is that?
Bernard and Jarvis.
It's probably a public record, I mean,
Yes.
it's a
It's got to
public
be
record.
recorded
but-
somewhere,
Yeah,
capacity
Yeah.
for that
Yeah, you
septic.
can go to the state website, you pull it up, wastewater.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
And then one other piece of information concerning the youth programs is now for the last 2 years, we've been licensed as an after-school program. And previous to that, we hadn't been. So that's why there seems to be more oversight, but there's a lot of benefits to being licensed. It's helped our relationship with Maple Run. This year, they paid for all the Fairfield students that attended Black Creek Adventure Camp, which was great, no matter what the income levels.
It showed the way they raised their budget. I would think that's the least they could do.
That's right. Yeah. So being licensed, I think, is beneficial to the program. And the West End ceiling, so that's repaired finally, even though we were rejected by 3 insurance companies to pay for it. And Tony was really a good guy, very, he communicated well and,
Put in both, or just different
no,
trusses?
he found the rafters and then he put in 2x4s or 2x6s to brace them, and then screwed them in, and then hung the ceiling from those new 2x4s and 2x6s. So hopefully it will be fine. But Gavin braved it a few weeks ago, sat in there.
Nobody was injured.
Yeah, and we got a grant from Vermont Food Bank, a capacity grant that we had some flexibility to use where it was needed, so I think we were able to use that to pay for it. It's sort of unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. So I had a couple things on the list that I'm looking for advice on. I know, Tom, you probably noticed that the water that pools.
Down in that corner.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to drain that, or the best
Small
way.
culvert would take care of that, wouldn't it?
I
Well, it was just,
We thought there was a culvert there, but maybe it's plugged or.
I didn't know where, like, he started putting the dirt in. I think if, you know, it's a low spot, so if you filled it in, it would probably let the water go over the edge of the road. You could put in just a 4-inch drain tile underneath the road and let it head it up towards the creek. You know, the rest of it, the guy could do that, cover it up with stone, leave a stone trench for the water. But I think you could put some dirt in there and it would, you know, it's a low spot, so if you filled it in,
And it doesn't drain,
yeah.
yeah.
But I
So
would, I would put a tile across the road for that driveway and let it, you know, till you had enough grade, and put it back under, to the back side of that low spot.
Yeah.
And put stone way to the surface.
Yeah, so that's not considered a town road. What's,
It's just, you know, trail to their driveway to the ballpark.
Yeah.
I guess it's,
so anyone can dig it up?
As long as you're 25 feet from the road, from the center of the road.
probably.
Was that a 3-rod?
That would be 25 feet from the center of the street.
I mean, technically, I think the town's put gravel on it and stuff, but, you know, I would think it's just,
But that's a trail out there, that's not down the road.
right, it's not an official town road.
Right.
It's just a driveway to the ballpark.
Yeah.
You can have these guys bring up a little, fill that in.
But that guy, well, he's
Max
putting that
Rose.
stone
I was thinking
wall
about
on.
Yeah.
Max, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I
Who's
just
doing
need a
it?
little,
Is Max Rose? I think he lives on
Hill Road.
Hill Road, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if you needed some more dirt, you know,
Yeah.
town could haul some down from the pit, put it in there. But
Yeah.
they probably got some stone, then
Yeah.
they could get you a little stone.
Yeah. I'll talk to him and see.
But I would think you
Yeah.
could, you know, wouldn't have to go very far before you would, you know, have a tail light or whatever you know, you'd daylighted it out from stuff drainage, but I would bring stone on top of the filtered pipe
Right.
way to the surface.
Yeah. You're suggesting a perforated tile?
Yeah, 4-inch lint tile.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
it's not a lot of water, it's just when it rains, but if you put that and then you filled
Right.
it in with some dirt,
Right.
then the water wouldn't sit there.
Right.
You kill 2 birds, you know, they could draw some from the gravel pit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
that'd be really nice, especially, I don't know if Max has time to do that while he's there, but he does a really, really nice job with that little excavator he's got. He's very skilled with it.
Yeah.
To just take that and grade it down from the lawn that's there, you know, I think that's very, very doable. And then we might even get, if we did it soon, we might even get some grass seed planted in there, you know, this year and give it some stability before
You got
fall
plenty
and
of
winter
time.
sets
You
in.
got plenty, you got a couple months.
We do,
Grass
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm sure there'd be enough moisture to get started.
Yes.
Seems to come pretty easy.
And another thing we're kind of looking into that I hope to collaborate with Little League is maybe to try to do some an outdoor seasonal bathroom there. They rent porta potties every year. Meeting House rents porta potties every year. Just maybe when we're exploring the capacity of the system, we can see.
I thought we rented the porta potties down there. Maybe not. I
Just
think it
went to
comes-
one up by the pond that I know.
I think it comes out of our the rec fund.
What for the Little League,
The little,
Yeah.
it comes out of the rec
Yeah.
fund.
but it's still, yeah. Anyway, and there has been increased traffic with the rail trail for sure. Using, kind of wanting someplace, some facility to use. So
where do they go into the community center, or do they use that?
if it's open, they'll ask to come in. Yeah.
So just put in a pay-for-use toilet.
Right.
Why not?
Right. But there are a number of grants that I've been looking at to do that. But I'll keep you posted on that. Yeah, and the other thing we want to talk to Little League about is that there's a lot of wasp in the fence, in the plastic covering of the fence, that we have to spray them every summer, every week, every summer. Just for the kids' safety. But what else? Landscaping, I don't know if all of you guys have been by recently, but we're putting in access to the pavilion, some stone steps and then a bed, a flower bed. And I think it'll be really usable, and it's pretty attractive, I think, down there now.
It's incredible. If you get a chance, you should totally come down. She's making it sound very casual. It is, the stone is incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
It's big and just really, really beautiful and so welcoming. And Max has done a beautiful job, so you'd appreciate it if you come take a look. It's a very significant addition to that property. Really beautiful.
Next thing on the list is I've been looking at a Better Places grant that would, support possibly, the outdoor bathroom and also some of the landscaping we're doing. And I haven't looked into it thoroughly, but I think what we would need from you is probably a letter of support or something. But I'll keep, generally you're pretty supportive of the efforts that we make.
Did you want to bring that to a meeting, or would you like to would the select board like to direct me to sign it? When is it due?
I think it's rolling admissions,
Okay.
so,
No hurry.
yeah,
Okay.
so no hurry, yeah. It might turn out if we need funding for the bathroom, we might need a letter of support for that too, Buildings and Services, a state grant that we'd be looking at. And one request we have that, just to put in your head, is paving of the school street and entrance areas. We get a lot of gravel coming into the building, and I think it would help with the tracking of dirt and, our cleaning expenses. Save
The
the
mud is
floors.
significant. There's little pools there that, excuse me for interrupting.
No, go ahead. No.
The water does collect there at a number of different spots, and yeah, just definitely the amount of foot traffic in and out is very significant, and so between the mud and the gravel, it's very noticeable, and it would, as much as I'm a dirt road kind of person and love keeping it rural, for practical purposes, it would be very nice to have that. And I would think too, and I haven't been here for the winter yet, but just in terms of plowing and general care would be.
I'd say you're looking for a big hope on that one.
What's that?
We are.
Yeah, so you're looking for a big hope
Yeah,
on
I
that
just put it on the list.
Okay.
one. We can't afford to be blacktop in the roads we got. I
Okay.
don't see us, you?
Got it.
I'm trying to be realistic.
Unless we could get, Mike used to do some free stuff.
They haven't done
Right.
that
They
in quite
haven't
a
done
while.
that for 4 or 5 years.
No, they haven't, because
The other thing you might be able to do or help you with is, instead of gravel, you could do some rock fine stone.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's not quite so tracky and
yeah,
packs down pretty good and makes a
Right.
good hard surface.
yeah,
That's cheaper than rock.
That recycled asphalt's really good. That's what we put in our Sugarwoods, where it's really from the pit, that
Yeah.
recycled asphalt.
Yeah.
Get the sun to that stuff.
Hardens right down.
yeah,
It's really good.
Especially right at the front of the building when they enter.
That would be, yeah.
yeah.
The other thing that, they make material that goes in front of an entrance, and like we were talking about it for the library. But, so I have, I don't know where to buy it, but if you put it in front of like an entrance like that, the janitors love it, cause there's a way for the sand to fall out of your boots or shoes.
Yeah.
And we got it's recycled material from a plant in southern Vermont, but you know what I'm
I
talking
know
about?
what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, like,
But it acts like.
when I was on the
great.
school board, the janitors, we made a minor adjustment, and you're and it's like a 6x8 entranceway, and you walk over, and it's like a cattle, a cattle fence.
Yeah, kind of great.
But but it's much smaller grade, but you walk right over it, and all the fines fall off, and they don't track them in. It's better than a
So when
rug.
that space
where-
fills up, what happens?
Yeah, you lift the grate up,
Okay.
clean the grate, and off you
It's
So
go.
truly a
it's
great-
removable then?
Yeah.
I see.
Okay, yeah, we'll look at alternatives in the meantime. But I do remember years ago that sometimes Pike would have extra.
Yeah.
From
Well, they did used
contracted.
did a few of the basketball courts for us. But
Right, right,
lately,
if it happens.
And they haven't got the bid till after 2 or 3 years, so.
Uh-huh.
And I guess if we blacktop too, we have to do the whole entire school street. It can't just be the front.
Oh, it would help if
Have
the
to
parking,
do-
if those entranceways,
Yeah, it's not-
We're
it's
approved.
there. Uh-huh, yeah.
but maybe we'll look at alternatives to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're looking to paint some identification of the community center on that west wall, the brick wall. We don't have a design yet approved.
thought you had a sign made up.
We have a sign on the building, and Meeting House has a sign. But we didn't do all the sign work we wanted to do. We got busy with other things. But this was part of the ARPA funds that you gave to us, to do better signage. But it would probably just say Fairfield Community Center in big letters. Because right now, we really don't have anything to identify the building except a small sign on the main entrance. But I think that's it for community center stuff. But I wanted just to update you on the common school too. And this is work I'm doing with Greta and the common school working group. So we didn't get the Village Trust Initiative support, which we applied for. So we're gonna go back to them to see for moving forward, with our ideas. We still have to talk with Maple Run to see if they have any interest in renting the property, but that would be probably 2 years out. We're hoping to get some of the working group to work on some kind of use of heat remediation for the building, so you don't have to spend $12,000 heating it.
Energy efficiency or somebody like that.
Hmm?
Energy efficiency or something.
I mean, I don't know how in-depth you looked at the heating system, but what I remember is that it was zoned, and there might be a way just to close off
Close that top floor off.
the top floor and limit its use,
Yeah.
There's a recreational program that runs there, but it's minimally attended, and maybe they could be accommodated in the lower classrooms. But I thought we'd try to get a few people that are on the working group just to research that and come to you with a plan.
Advertising all the time, energy efficiency, grants.
Yeah, and I don't know if they could do, they do a blow test, don't they?
We did a whole,
It seems like
they've
you
gone
did
through,
that
they did a
in the
whole
energy
analysis,
report.
yeah.
Yeah,
Have you seen that, the committee seen that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
There's no easy, I mean, there was no easy low-hanging fruit that we found for like energy efficiency. They,
No, not for making improvements, but just, I mean, it's like in a barn, you know, if you don't.
Sure, yeah.
They don't close the shoe hole, it's probably gonna freeze going.
That's right. Or limit the space that you're heating,
Yeah.
you know. So anyway, we just wanted to keep people kind of going and thinking about the building. And hopefully we can engage a few people and take something off your plate. Do you have any questions for us on community center stuff?
Seems like you're progressing along all right.
Yeah, it's hopping,
Good.
really.
I was down the other bike path. It is looking nice. It's beautiful. What
Yeah,
you doing?
good.
It's nice.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Benches are nice.
Yeah, we're looking at benches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, looks nice.
Yeah.
The pavilion is huge, you know, just a huge, huge asset, and the picnic table's there, and so many people enjoy it, and I've spoken to a lot of people who ride the rail trail, and many people are through riders, you know, all the way from Canadian border to Boston, which is pretty amazing, and they love stopping over, and it's just very, very welcoming. It's a great spot.
Do you get a lot of people to park there and then take off
Yeah, quite a
from there
few.
instead of by the rail trail?
Yep, the state never came through with signage though.
Yeah, I know.
Haven't been through with much of anything.
No, which disappoints me because the Whites and Jim don't want people parking in their yard, you know, and I think it should be, the state should sign that, I think, you know,
State
and direct
should
them to park.
take that old granary back and put the parking there, because they own all the land.
Yeah, I think that was caught up in something.
Somebody was too lazy to look up old leases
Yeah,
and never followed through on it.
yeah,
It's a state, it's not us.
right.
It's their
Yeah,
land.
no, it's,
There were a couple people parked when I delivered food yesterday.
yeah, they're often,
They're like right by the pizza place.
yeah.
I
I
could
think,
follow
their
up on
bikes
our
back.
contact who was gonna do that research and see if they dropped it completely forever.
I mean, it's funny, anybody else does anything along it, the state's right there charging rent for usage of that rail trail and all. That building right there, they haven't done a damn thing, they know about it, we've notified them enough times.
Yeah, when this first came around, they were going to go into the archives and look at the records from the railway record, right of ways, because, and that's where it all got crazy, I think, for them, but I need to, I can follow up and
Yeah,
find
and I
out.
haven't heard from Jackie for a year and a half, I don't think.
Yeah, no, me
Well, since the floods of July, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it flooded out again
They,
some.
they spent a lot of money
It must have
fixing the
flooded
flooded
again,
out
that
by
much.
yeah,
Jackie.
yeah, some of it shut down.
Yeah.
Up there, must have been built up that way. And even down Swan Way, I guess, they got some.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that part.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for your support and
Thanks for letting us know what's happening.
yeah, glad to do that.
And I know you're not on the meeting house part, but I think when they have the jig in the valley, they should have somebody out directing traffic.
Yeah, so this year, because there was a transition in you know, employees, because we hired Nance and Michelle to do it, and it was on their list. But I think they felt like it wasn't necessary, but I think, I mean, there is, yeah, a lot of
I mean, I
traffic.
think you could utilize, it, you know, a dry day, you could utilize like in front of your pavilion a little bit more and keep them from going down to White's and Jim's and
Yeah,
be a little more cautious.
yeah,
Cause they get parked going up the road, right on that corner by Abbey Morris, and
yeah,
there's
there's no,
one lane traffic on that corner, it's not,
yeah,
cause nobody
the
goes,
sight distance isn't very good. Yeah,
you know, just
Yeah.
before they get, just, you know, rent some land from White's or Jim or some parking
Uh-huh.
spots.
right,
That was my immediate thought, because boy, to have to talk to every driver about, or you'd have to have, I think, a number of people out there directly.
Well, if you had somebody on Route 36 and somebody down on the road headed Lapland Road,
Yeah.
and just,
Some
once you
flags.
get those places filled, that,
yeah,
just to keep, I mean, I had to be at White's, and, I mean, there was 20 cars, they had to, you know, they were filling the spots for the tenants on
Oh,
gyms, and they were,
Of course.
White's agreed to kind of monitor it for them since they were there in their food cart.
Right, yeah, yeah, well, thanks, Tom, for bringing that up. We'll put it back on the list. Yeah.
You know, just to keep everybody in.
Yeah, and no accidents.
Yeah, no, but that could definitely be win-win to, you know, to rent some space for parking and then, just direct, kind of almost like you go to the fair, you know, like this is where you park. And,
You know, even at Stone's, I don't know if he would give you any, but I mean, sometimes they park right in front of the fire station. I mean,
Yes,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, good.
Well,
Well,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
So where do you move to?
Just at P.E.G, just across the street from Stone's. That little corner house there, yeah. She has a big front room that she never uses, and she was very welcoming the other day, and so it was really, really nice. So yeah, so it's gonna work out
That was
great.
probably the old
Sure.
store.
It
old
is.
store.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I figured that's when you said that.
Yes, yeah.
You
It's
might be in
it's a
the
great
the
space.
apothecary.
Yeah. I've heard it was a post office and a
That's where the goals.
switchboard, you know, yeah.
Hobby Moore's uncle used to be the switchboard operator up here.
Yeah,
Years ago.
amazing. It's had a lot of lives, that room, it's pretty cool, yeah.
Speaking of bringing
Gotta
dogs
pick
to there too.
Donna's brain about it, and she has a lot of history apparently in that
Donna.
room, yeah, so I'd love to hear about it. No dogs right now are up at Brian Trudell's place, and, so I'm grateful for that, yeah, it's gonna work out for a little bit.
Gonna turn Gary into a musher or what?
Yeah. Maybe Trudy's kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good meeting.
You too. Linda got anything for us?
So Linda doesn't have anything except that there's voting tomorrow. Just a reminder that the offices are closed, I believe, for a week from Wednesday to Wednesday.
Tomorrow, too.
That's for vacation.
Closed tomorrow.
Yeah,
Because of
the
voting.
town clerk's office is closed for operations, but the voting is here. That's it for her. I have an update around paving is starting next week with Whitcomb. They want to fit it in while they're doing I guess that they got the bid for the bridge too, that area. So they have some final things they have to do over there, and then they're gonna start on the Chester Arthur Road. And hazard mitigation grants, we had talked about this in the last time we met, the question about if the Chester Arthur Bridge could also, so we had a plan to do something with Brussels Road, which we will still move forward with. And we have a lot of information on that particular place for hazard mitigation. I looked into the Chester Arthur Bridge, and it would fit under the category for upsizing bridges to avoid hazard. I went to a training on the application and learned a few things. So the trainers made it really clear, and the paperwork is very clear, that it's a statewide highly competitive grant, and they're not prioritizing upsizing culverts or bridges, but they are allowing them in, and they're going to be given consideration. So they are trying to prioritize buyouts of homes and residential projects like structural elevations. And they're prioritizing frontline and disadvantaged communities. The pre-application deadline was extended until August 30th. And for the pre-application, it looks like I'm gonna need to estimate the cost for upsizing the bridge. It can be based on previous projects, so I was thinking that I would just look at what it costs for Jouer Road and what the expected costs for Parity Road, and kind of give an estimate that way. I also have to have a history of damages to the bridge, and if I don't have an exact history, we can also just describe in wear and tear, annual wear and tear.
Must be a whole bunch of photos of that bridge.
There are a lot of photos recently. I don't know if there's a lot from before.
Well, they took photos when they put that repair in it 2 years ago, didn't they?
So there's a repair 2 years ago.
Cowboy did, but I don't think it'd be
Town
more-
boys did
need
it.
more than enough.
We're talking about Bridge 51,
Yeah.
there's a whole, the
It's just-
state of Vermont has this whole slew of photos.
I have all of that.
Oh,
I
okay.
need the
What'd you think
damage
of that?
reports.
I see.
So
I would
the
think so, yeah.
the history,
gotta
the
make it
hazard
wider.
mitigation grant is focused on flood issues.
I see.
So they're assuming that there's been flood issues that have caused specific damage, and I need to present specific damage improvements.
Has
They-
there any pictures taken since this bridge is reopened?
I've taken, I know
Since
that
this
we
one
were-
reopened,
I
you
know
should've
that
gone down and taken
Northwest
photos.
Regional Planning was gonna be doing that. They put out a traffic counter, and they were gonna go post pictures.
Both pictures once it was
Once it
back home.
opened, yeah. I do have pictures. I went out and took pictures of the last flood, of the flood all around, and it was about like a foot below, topping over. So we have some good pictures. I just need to reframe them to, they're not going to give us a grant for anything that looks like we're just replacing something or upsizing something that's damaged because it's old. They will give money to replacing or upsizing something.
So the pictures that you took from that last time flooding, was it like all through the abutment, like a foot below the grade level of the road?
Of the bridge. It was
Of
like
the deck of the bridge.
of the deck of the bridge.
That's pretty
It was
good.
like-
I mean,
yeah,
that would have stressed the abutment.
right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have some wording on that. So the only thing that I need is a history of specific improvements that we've done. So it sounds like we had a repair 2 years ago.
They had to, there was a hole through the bridge.
Okay.
I got this, who the, state
State showed them.
showed them how to go about it.
Okay.
So that, this District 8 out here must have some
Okay.
history of that repair.
Well, I would think James would have some on his
Yeah.
own like that.
Okay.
But it's documented with the state, though, I would think out here that they would do that repair to that bridge.
And then, what was the name of that guy who lives on Diamond Street?
Jim
Jim?
Smith.
Jim Smith, maybe 10 years ago. I know he and I went down and looked underneath that bridge. That's when they did some water work underneath
Yeah.
to get the water to work right.
Jim Smith is
But he has retired from that kind of
there.
job.
There would be
There's-
records.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
I just need
lots.
to. I just have to have like a ballpark, and I can find what I need.
Maybe 10 years ago?
Okay.
I'm only guessing.
I can also look
What
under Jim
happened to
Smith,
that,
and if we have any
$1 million
records of
that
payments.
Chuck had for his, I mean, that is not up for grabs. Last minutes.
What was that, the one he was referencing something that we did come
They had
across?
left over or something. Right, it was in the minutes, last meeting minutes.
What was that? What was that?
Chuck Bird, remember he was mentioning
$1
something?
million that was left over from somebody.
Right.
It was in the other guy's last minutes.
He said at the TAC meeting, it was mentioned that the state of Vermont had some
Millions.
grants that were not, they didn't expect to be fully utilized.
So the hazard mitigation meeting talked about all the grants that are available, and the ones that are available, the one that is available, that this particular project could be considered for, is for the hazard mitigation grant. There's $64 million available to these specific projects. I did ask that question, and they said that there's also, if you have a damage that was a specific damage documented by an extreme weather event, even if you weren't in the, the regions that were, you could apply for, then we could possibly get that fixed too. But we don't really have something like that.
Chuck says there's 91 million left over. Regional FEMA funding for hazard.
I recognize that. So the hazard mitigation grant that that fits this project is $64 million available, and there are $4 million available for planning. So, and I do have all of the information on that from the training that I went to around this money. So so I'll get through the pre-application once I find those 2 repairs.
Yeah, I think this sounds like in addition to 64, this 91, it's just left over from hazard mitigation according to him.
Yeah, so the hazard mitigation money that applies to these particular projects, there's $64 million. And the thing, whatever else there is out there doesn't apply to these types of projects. I've asked the question of the state, so they have given me that information. The other monies are even more prioritized toward directly any cataclysmic problem that took place during the events that haven't been fixed, even outside of the districts that are considered emergency districts. So the money that is not about those direct, those big events can be covered in this.
Is that August 16th deadline, is that?
So again, the deadline has been extended to August 30th for the pre-application. For that pre-application, I'm getting the estimate cost to upsize the bridge by estimating the 2 bridges that we've done. One that we've done and one that is expected to be done. And now I have a history of damages. We have no pre-project work completed. And that means conceptual designs, 30% engineering, 60% engineering design, 100%, 90 and 100% elevation certificates, substantial damage determinations, detailed project budgets, project schedules, benefit analysis. So because we don't have any of those things completed yet, the trainers said that we would be able to apply and would most likely be in a phased-in project process. So that means that they would review. If we are approved, then they would give us award us a certain amount of money to complete one of these phases, and then decide if that's enough for them to move forward with another phase. So it would be time. It's going to be a longer time than if we had a shovel-ready project. And they can stop that at any time when they decide that they've had enough money given to the project.
I can say if you're talking to Mr. St. Ange, he could give you a rough estimate of what it costs to replace it. He's right here. Yeah, I'm sure you can go down and do that.
Yeah, he's pretty great. I can ask him.
You get an accurate one then.
More accurate, because they're using numbers from 2-3 years ago for that bridge down there, Tom Parody's.
Right. And the
Yeah.
estimate for the...
Right, and that bridge is, 4 or 5 years ago, so
That was
pretty
2
much
years.
inaccurate.
And that one was 2 years.
That's a bridge.
That's a bridge, but I mean,
And
it's,
then the one on Parody Road, I just got a notice that we are not on their list for next year. We're on their list now for the following year. So, so those numbers are gonna be a little outdated too. But I can have him come over and talk. That's a great idea.
yeah, he's right here, he's probably
He's
more
good.
knowledgeable.
Nobody more knowledgeable
No,
than
I
him. He
agree.
can look at it and tell you what it's gonna cost to
Yeah.
put in the
Yeah.
bridge.
So impressed by every meeting I've been in with him. And just going to the Jouer Road project, seeing him in action, it's like, he knows everything. Okay, so that's the hazard mitigation grant. We're plugging along, moving forward. I did also ask NRPC if they can support me specifically to do a cost benefit analysis, which is a specific form required by FEMA that's many pages long. It comes with a toolkit and a training that you can go to, and if they don't have the support, like if they could just do that with me or for me, that would be great. If not, they'll have to invested some time to figure out how to do that. Let's see. Oh, we're eligible for a reassessment grant for the road erosion inventory. So we had a road erosion inventory that documented and coded at different levels of need all of the hydrologically connected road segments. And that was a few years ago. So they have all of the districts who went through that have been invited at different times to apply for a reassessment grant. Specifically for Fairfield, the amount that would be awarded would be $13,072 with a $3,268 match assumed by the town of Fairfield. And what they would do is they would go around and inventory all of our segments again. And that would allow us to document the improvements that we've made there are a lot of segments that have been improved that haven't actually been uploaded and documented to the Agency of Natural Resources map. So this would fund a contract with NRPC to go out and take care of that. It's up to the select board on whether or not you want me to apply for that grant. It's a pretty easy application, but it would be a commitment of $3,200.
Can we do that in kind? Can we do that? It seems surprising to me that we would kind of hire that out. That we wouldn't.
I don't know that we just need to get one of the road guys more trained on how to. It's going to take a lot of time. I don't know.
Okay, so we don't have any data. We don't maintain any work. All the work that we've done on road, we don't keep that as a record.
So the record, the uploading, the data is complicated. So it's like you need to have the size of the culvert. What kind of? I think that they have.
So we don't maintain that. So that's a state. That's A&R. That's an A&R database.
That's an A&R database that we are supposed to upload information to, and I know that.
So what's the upside? What's the upside? What's the upside for us to? I mean, so A&R's got a better look at what's going on at Fairfield. How's that help us?
So all of our culverts, every single ditch in Fairfield is on this public map with codes. And so there's a public display of where we haven't met the grade. And if we have met the grade, that public display would be improved. It would look better that we've been taking care of our roads.
It gives you a better inventory.
It gives us a better inventory. It could end up supporting a capital planning process.
I make a motion we apply for the grant and come up with a 3K if that's.
I think when they do put in culverts, it's just somebody's got to do that. Put it in a notebook or something and write it down, and then you have that as a record rather than just do it. Because every time you put in a culvert, they're always upgrading it, making it bigger.
Yeah, upsizing.
So
it's
just
So
keeping it.
is there a financial advantage for us to have the information there? I guess that's what you.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
the financial
I think
advantage for having the information in the town.
Right. So when we have a
I
team
don't
on
think
that,
so.
then you can go prove you had culverts that were 5 years old, 6 years old, they
Well-
weren't 50 years old. I think it makes a difference on the amount you receive if they're restoring ones that are pretty new or ones that are almost worn out.
Can I go on the A&R and pull up the culvert in Fairfield today,
Yeah.
on a database?
When does this have to be in?
I think in the end of September, but I need to look it up.
Do you want to look that through first before we make a motion, or do you have to make a motion and start looking for it?
We don't have to do this tonight. We have the opportunity.
Well, if Tom thinks it's a good thing, let's do it. I mean, if
If we're gonna do it, we might as well do it and get it started and get you in
Sure.
on the list.
So in terms of money available, if it's embedded in something like a capital plan, then the context, it's really about context. you know, if we're talking about getting more money from from V-Trans, I don't think that it would limit our ability to get money from V-Trans.
Yeah, I was just trying to understand, like,
The value.
the
Yeah, the
value.
The advantages and disadvantages.
Would it help us allocate our resources
Well, I
better?
think, I would think you know, sort of like doing the stone culverts or the stone ditches and all that stuff, it just shows that you're upgrading and it just gives you an inventory of what you've done, which is not recorded. You know, you've done a lot of stuff, but it's not on their website or even in ours.
Yeah, I mean-
I think it'd be well spent.
Okay.
So you made a motion
Sure.
to, we'll.
Yeah, to apply for the grant and to come up with the
Come with the
required
match.
match.
I'll second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
All right.
Let's get started.
That's the roads. Moving into, so we have to set the tax rate tonight. Last meeting, Linda talked about, the homestead and non-homestead increases, as a result of the school budget, and this is the, increase as a result of the school budget plus our municipal budget. So the municipal, and we have to approve the municipal tax rate. So this is a picture of just the municipal tax rate. So the municipal tax rate pre-local agreements, it would be 0.4601, actually, I don't know, this one is
0.4623, this one is.
So if you start at the top line, we have the total taxes to be raised, the municipal grand list, and the municipal tax rate pre-local agreement is 0.46. If you then go to the local agreements, which is grandfathered in and veteran exceptions, that's about almost $7,000 more. So the local agreement tax rate is 0.0022. Combined, the local tax rate, the municipal tax rate that I'm requesting that you approve tonight is 0.4623. That rate is up 0.214% from last year. So that rate is up 0.214%, so less than 1%. The amount of the rate, the tax rate in the municipality for our municipal tax rate has only increased less than 1%, less than 1/4%. So when we combine those to the education tax in the for the homestead taxes, that brings the homestead taxes up to 1.7361. That is a 12.46% increase from last year. And if you add it to the homestead rate that had the education tax altogether, that's 1.763 homestead rate, which is up 15.4% from last year. So the municipal tax rate has gone up less than 1/4%. But the
Do you mean on that last paragraph? I'm sorry,
No.
so the first one is non-homestead and the second quote is homestead.
Right.
Okay, I got it.
And there was a question last week, but the last time we met, about the difference between the homestead rate and the non-homestead rate. And the property of residence is considered a homestead, which means that per pupil spending is part of that calculation. But per pupil spending is not included in leased properties, non-homestead. The non-homestead rate is leased properties, businesses, or rentals. So that's the difference between those two rates in a nutshell. And then I tried to figure out all of the ways they calculate those. It's complicated. I drew some pictures though, so.
So we need a motion for the,
And when, just, I got one question. So when you put the tax rate together for the town,
Yes.
how did you come about that? Did you use NEMRAC? Did you use your treasurer or?
I
Jada?
use NEMRIC, that's the program,
Okay.
but this is the way I choose to explain it because it's more clear than the NEMRIC report that it spits out.
Okay,
But these numbers are from NEMRIC. What they do in NEMRIC, and if you do the math, is the total taxes to be raised in the budget divided by the grand list. There are 1,039 taxable parcels in the municipality. That comes to the local agreement. It covers the cost of the total budget. And then the local agreement, you add the local agreement in there. So that's where that comes from.
so did our actual evaluations, total evaluations go up? Is why the rate increases so low for the town? We got the properties, usually when you go up 2.1%,
Yeah, it depends on every single, I don't exactly know all of the dynamics of this because I'm not a lister and I'm not the town clerk.
right, but I know from past, if your appraisals go up, then your
There's
tax
an
rate will
equalization.
decrease a bit. So and we had a reappraisal last year, but there was a lot of properties sold afterwards.
Right, there's an equalization process through the appraisal. So the state has, a specific yield is set by the state, and that yield is expected based on it's sort of the expected amount that a town is going to be raising. And because our yield was higher from the state and our property taxes were considered not, they didn't seem accurate, that balances it out. So, then there's all of this information that Linda knows about current use and the changes between homestead and non-homestead, and there are a lot of different dynamics that go along with where did that come from.
Okay. Any more questions, gentlemen?
nope,
Make a motion, we, make, 0.4623 tax rate.
Town tax rate?
Yeah. Or municipal, whatever you
All
want.
right. Someone second that?
second,
Second. All in favor?
Right.
aye.
Anybody opposed?
Ain't got any choice.
No. We can live with what we got.
We get what they voted for.
Okay.
Gotta pay for it.
Let's see, what else do we
What did that win by this year? 54 votes?
So, the public indecency ordinance had no formal objections and went into effect last Friday. We have the capital planning next steps to discuss and the VLCT, and animal control ordinances to discuss.
I'm gonna wait. I suggest wait on that till Dave's here.
I would agree.
He's the man that has to deal with it.
The
mostly.
animal control.
Yeah.
I see they just hired a new guy in Fairfax. Maybe he'd be interested in doing a little extra work.
No, it's possible.
He's, was doing it before, and he's a military man, and
Oh, was that Lanshinger?
or something like that,
I
yeah.
think the father had that little farm right on the corner going up Buck Hollow Road.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, they got a lot of problems to deal with down there according to the messenger, but
Yeah. I think that's where I
yeah,
read it.
well, that'd be interesting if he did.
They
be
just
interesting.
hired full-time, or not, to do that.
Well, they made him town constable, didn't they?
Yeah, but I think also.
The animal control officer.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. How long is this capital plan discussing going to take?
It's a process.
What time is it now?
It's 8:09.
I'd say let's put it off to your next meeting,
Okay.
a meeting where we must have used a good hour up just with that.
I had a chance to read it all, and I'm certainly in support of putting it off. But I think before we put it off, there's some information that I think Kathy could sit down with Mo, like the inventory of the trucks, like updating. This is a really good format. To me, it's very reasonable. It just needs to be updated.
Yeah.
And there were a number of things that were, I don't think the board is even in a position to do the work.
Right, no, and actually, I think that that's a good first step, to see what we have and to, the easy, low-hanging fruit updates is a really good place to start.
So do we wanna start that way? Have an update of the equipment we have on hand?
Well, I'd be happy to, like I marked up what I thought were, I think if we task Kathy to give an update, and where you feel uncomfortable, bring it back to us and say, what do you think? Because, like, there's town offices administrative, there's obviously a lot of things that have been done.
Right.
The library, the board of listers are no longer, the Fairfield School District talks about roofs. This is...
It's old.
Yeah, it's old,
Yeah.
but it's a really good format, and I think it'd be a really good template, and it's, as you call out, we said we're gonna do it, so.
Community center's been upgraded, the library's been upgraded.
And a lot of the road, the road erosion inventory thing can also add to that. So
I don't think that's overwhelming, and and we're give it a first shot, and we can talk about it in the next meeting. The one thing that I mentioned to Kathy, and I'll just bring up, is when I looked at the Fairfield Town Plan that you handed out, support the efforts of the Recreation Committee to pursue public recreational opportunities on Fairfield Pond, and efforts of Fairfield Pond Rec Association to maintain pond's water quality. And what I wanted to say was, Ron, when he was president of the Pond Association, had Arrowwood Associates do a inventory of milfoil on Fairfield Pond in 2019.
2019.
And at our Pond Association meeting this year, we learned about what Lake Salem has done to mitigate or kind of diminish the milfoil on Lake Salem. We had an hour-and-a-half discussion. And the one thing that there was a consensus is, it would make sense before we go down that road that we do we get an update for what was done.
Well, do you compare the two that way?
Is that when you had
is
those
it
mats
growing?
put down that time?
No, this is, no.
Well, that was a part of it. The mats were a part of the part of the
Yeah.
control. But
It was a
to
part
kind of
of
get
the survey.
to get a survey map to see this is what it was like in 2019. This is what it's like now.
Yeah.
It would give us a better, more scientific analysis
Yeah.
of what
Whether you're
really.
gaining or losing, right?
Right, exactly. Because some people I think are, they were like, hey, this is really something we ought to pursue, and then other people are like,
So you
So
put in weevils too or something?
there were weevils that were put in.
Early.
The state of Vermont does not allow that now, but there are naturally occurring weevils, and that's part of the question. Because, like the weevils, the one thing is if there's more milfoil, there's more weevils. So what we want to do is quantify, is the problem getting worse?
Where was it?
And if so, where?
Yeah.
And then next year we talk about what we would do about it. So
Yeah.
I asked Arrowwood to give me a quote. They haven't given us a quote.
What's Lake Carmi doing? They're doing something different, right?
Those things didn't work out though, did they?
What's that?
Those
So
air
Lake
bases?
Carmi, I know a lot about Lake Carmi because 2 PhDs sought me out, and there was a contract that was put out to bid for an aeration treatment where they, just like a fish tank, if you interject oxygen and you get oxygen in, it helps break down organic material on the bottom of the pond, and so the state of Vermont chose to, I don't know, a couple $1 million, at least $1 million, and they hired a contractor, and 2 PhDs sought me out, and this was like 5 years ago, and they said, the state of Vermont has just given a contract to our former employee who is not skilled and doesn't know what he's doing, and this project is gonna fail. And it's because of bad science, and we're the PhDs in this. So the former Secretary of A&R, Jonathan Woods, and I went and met with the current Secretary of A&R, and we briefed, what happened, and, and I said, hey, I'm not an expert, I'm not a biologist, but this is what people with PhDs have told me. And she was very confident that what they were doing, they had a good handle on. Well, like 3 months ago, the state of Vermont has said it's a failure, it's not working. So the good news is Fairfield Pond water quality is improving slowly. It's improving, it's not getting worse. The concern right now is milfoil. And Lake Carmine's got significant challenges, and that's probably better to answer that question with someone who knows more about, what exactly is going on at Lake Carmine. But Lake Fairfield Pond is getting better, and we want to address the milfoil question. And when we get a quote, we're going to pursue grants. Ron did some research and said the grants aren't available this year for this cycle. Maybe next meeting, if we have a number, we could consider, an ARPA, possibly help out with a grant or whatever that would cost. But
If we stick to just a basic update of the plan that we have, or the scope that we have, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. Because they already got a format, they already got something to work with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that with drones, or they got it on a boat, or they...
On a boat.
On a boat?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's all. That's just a courtesy update.
Yeah.
Next meeting, if we get a quote, we'll bring it forward. But it was heartened to see it's in the plan. And
I know in Messenger, the Lake Carmine said they're up and upbeat, whatever they're doing, that's improving their water. I don't know what they're doing to it, but I was just reading that in Messenger.
just recently, Tom?
Yeah.
Good. That's great. I know they made a lot of investments.
Some specific what they're doing, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. Well, good. Because I know they've made a lot of investment on the watershed. The roads and trying to mitigate the runoff.
So we've thoroughly expended the bypass, the Route 36 bypass grant, and then some of the ARPA funds that you decided to give toward that mitigation issue of dust and all of that. I'll have those numbers by next meeting, so I can tell you balance of ARPA. Would you like me to look into any other funds that might be available for this kind of thing?
Sure. Yeah, but I think Ron knew of.
Yeah, there is a specific fund for that, so a grant. But the problem is that the NOFA comes in like the end of November, so it's already passed this year. You can't, you couldn't.
So you're applying for 2025.
Right, exactly.
If let's get a number and let's look at the grants. And if worst case, we could roll it to next year. I mean, it's
So the ARPA funds have to be completely expended by March.
yeah. That's why Ron suggested that
Yeah,
might be a good idea.
I think we do it because the town's getting a lot of taxes off that pond, and the cleaner we can keep it, the better. So
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Okay, we'll get you a number, and I would think the ARPA is $20K left in
I
ARPA.
think so, something like that.
Yeah. So okay. Thank you.
Okay. So
there's, go ahead.
yeah, what do you got left, Kathy?
An executive session to discuss employees and employment issue.
Let's do the minutes. Somebody make a motion to do the minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes dated 22 July.
a second.
Is there any discussion on it? Everybody in favor of?
All right.
I wasn't here. So.
Yeah. Enough for me. Okay, and might as well do these right now.
I make a motion we approve the warrants
Okay.
A second.
Second it. All in favor?
Right.
So get
I
that
make a
done.
motion we enter executive
Just
session.
before
Yeah.
executive session, I have one thing. Remember I talked to you about driveway cuts?
Yep.
So we're gonna make a change in the way we do those. so that they're approved prior to somebody's subdivision being approved.
That's a good idea.
Kind of a no-brainer, you would have thought we'd had it that way before, but, and so when there is a subdivision request, those will come directly to Mo. Do you want them to come here first and then to Mo, or should we give them directly to Mo?
Well, if they come here first, at least you're gonna know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's why I look at it.
So you would like them to come
I'd
here
like to
first?
see what the hell's going on when they're trying to do some of this stuff.
Okay.
That's just personal, I don't know how you guys feel.
Sure.
In other towns that Stephen has worked with, they come every month or every, whatever, they come to the select board hands them to the road foreman, and then they get done.
Yeah.
So we'll do it that same way.
Yeah.
I mean, even before they built the house, I think they ought to be pre-approved, you know? Cause I know, like, we were talking at last meeting, the one that's in East Fairfield. You know, there's no culvert there, there's no dip before going into the road, the water's all gonna go right into that road.
That'll have to be addressed before they finalize that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, before you get all that money invested, they should have the driveway pre-approved first.
Okay?
I mean, it's not a big issue, but
Well, it'd be easier if they knew it right now before it gets further that.
Well, so they
Yeah.
don't put a driveway in and then
Right,
find
they
out.
got a drive,
Then
rough
find out.
driveway, I'd say, isn't finished, would you? But I would say to them, you know, you gotta get this approved before, they should have known that, but.
You would think.
I mean, I would think they'd, I think you said it says it in, blueprints or something, that they have to have a culvert, right?
Yeah, it does.
You know, there's no culvert there. There's nothing to stop the water coming all the way down that driveway to.
Yeah, and that's bugger steep from what I could see when I went by.
I mean, I just not pointing fingers, but I think it's gonna be a hazardous in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Like my driveway.
It'll be a hazard
I
for
don't-
them to get up and down it.
They complain about my driveway, Sheldon or Swan, whoever plows for us there, is it Swan? I think it's
Probably
Swan.
something.
Swan complains about my driveway. We have a double driveway, no culvert, cause it's bedrock, right?
Yeah.
Remember when they tried to put a culvert and they didn't wanna have to blast too much? So the water just comes down our driveways and we get ice this,
Oh, at the bottom of it?
right at the bottom, goes all the way across the road, helps slow them down a little, it's nice.
Okay, so executive,
Yeah,
Are we
did you
done
wanna
after that?
mention something about the NRPC inventory of growth, their growth analysis thing that they're doing? So, I thought it was interesting, so one of the things that NRPC is doing as part of their zoning updates is they have an intern who came in and took note of all of the development that's taken place over the last, I think, 3 years, and is gonna be making a map of growth areas to show where that is and what that looks like. I thought that was nice. Handy dandy little tool. So that's
so we won't have any other business, you wanna clear him out, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's